Hi guys, so welcome back. We're going to be taking our first set of notes for chapter 1, and it is going to be going on page 3, and I hope your vocabulary looks a whole lot better than how I left it. And most of y'all's looked amazing from what I was looking online. And that's going to be titled Points, Lines, and Planes. You're probably thinking right now, we're like, I know what a point is, I know what a line is, and a plane flies in the sky. What does that? No. Geometry is a little bit different, and we came up with this first. Okay, so thank you very much. What I do want you to do is I want you to add that part into the table of contents right here that we set up. All right, so we are going to write chapter, we're going to write points, lines, and planes instead of rewriting the title from the first part right here like I'm trying to do. And that's going to be going on page 3. From this point forward, you are responsible for keeping up with this. I am putting a running table of contents on our home page right here. So, keep up with there. I know you can do this. And you can use that as you need. All right? So I'm going to go back over to my pages. Okay, there we go. All right, so now we've got points, lines, and planes. I am going to be using color. I highly recommend you use color. There is going to be an EQ, and the EQ is kind of listed at the on your page for this. So I recommend you write your EQ up here. That way you have more room for the actual words. And our EQ is going to be, how do you name and draw points, lines, and planes? So we are first going to start off with undefined terms. All right. The first thing that we're going to get is a point. Well, here's how I'm doing it. I'm going to have it that I draw it here and I name it out over here. For you to draw a point, you ready? This is the hardest one you're going to hear and see all year. You did it. You're going to draw a point, but you also have to label it. Make sure you use a capital letter. Points should always be in capital letters. And in fact, I want you to write that down. Points should always be capital letters. Now, even if you're typing, even if you're writing, oh, but my E doesn't look like that, or my R doesn't look, it better be capital. Figure it out. All right? You cannot look like the fool. Oh, I don't know how to capitalize my point. I'm teaching you better. I know you know better. You cannot bring dishonor to the Samji math family. So, when you say it, you can call it just A, or if you need to type it out ever, you can write point A. And that's it. Now, next, we've got our lines. Oops. And we're just going to write line. And I'm going to draw it out. Okay. And a line has to consist of at least 2 points. Now I've got point A and point B. And sometimes lines will also have like a cursive letter, either an L or Q, M, N, whatever letter they've given in kind of like cursive or italics. That's also the name of the line. All right. Now, this one, when we're naming it out, all right, you are going to be writing at least with 2 points when you write it with this line above it. So that reads as line AB. You can also do line BA. So remember, you must use at least 2 points. You must use at least 2 points. And we're just going to say just must use 2 points. That way, I'm not taking too much room. All right, now if named, you will get line L. And yes, you have to write it in cursive. Or you can write it sideways, but usually for L in math, we'll write it in cursive so it doesn't look like a 1, a lowercase l, a capital I. It gets all sorts of confusing in here sometimes. So let's just avoid it. For this one, if named, it will be lowercase. And as I'm writing this, just remember, you guys have a whole lot more lines than I do on your paper, right? And I'm writing bigger so that you guys can see. So adjust as you need. All right, and our last one that we're going to be doing for this is plane. Again, this is not an airplane. And look, oh man, that's kind of decent-ish. Yeah, sure. It's not an airplane, y'all. The whole concept of an airplane did come from this definition, though. I know, mind blown. So a plane, and we're going to draw it more like parallelogrammy almost. Right, and yours doesn't have to be perfect, but I want to make sure that you guys are able to see what I'm about to do. And I'm going to make the points in a different color just so you guys can see a little bit easier. All right, so this is going to be... No! There we go. So it's going to be a capital P in the corner. Sometimes they're going to have different things. Doesn't matter. And that's just because it's a letter. There's no point attached to it. But a plane, if you'll remember, has to have 3 non-collinear points. But A, B, C. Remember non-collinear? Okay? So they're not all in the same line. And now the way you can call this is you can call it plane A. Notice the capital letter for our point. You can call it plane ABC using 3 characteristics. So kind of instead of saying, hey, look, it's that girl. Well, there are like millions of girls. Who are you talking about? Oh, well, it's that girl in the blonde hair with the blue glasses. That is very specific, and you've got 2 descriptors, so you know and can narrow down who it is. Or if you know their name, you can just say, well, hey, that's plane P. I know their name. Or, hey, that's my friend Jessica. You know the name. P.S. I did just describe my friend Jessica. All right. So next, we've got our undefined terms. Now, we're going to do our defined terms. I'm going to draw an arrow this way, just so we know and we can separate it. And if you want to do the same for like up here, you can totally do that as well. All right, so zoom out a little bit more so you guys can see. So the first one that we're going to do is a segment. Okay, now some people will also call this a line segment. Pretty much a line goes on forever, right? We would draw arrows here, but a segment, it has 2 points, it stops. So I'll label each of these points that I've got here. Okay, so remember, it's a segment. It's just a line, but it doesn't go on forever. All right, and the way we're going to write it is with this up here. So now it's got a segment on top. So this is segment AC or line segment AC. You can also go backwards and write segment CA or line segment CA. So remember, you've got segment AC or segment CA. When you're writing, I expect that you would end up writing it like this, because I'm going to let you in on a secret, mathematicians, we're lazy. We don't want to sit there and write all of these words. But sometimes, especially right now when we're having to work on the computers a lot more, you're going to have to type out the word instead. And it's so horrible and miserable. But we will survive, and we always find a way around it. All right, so here is our last one. And that is going to be array. All right. Now, array is pretty much like a one-edged line, kind of like one of the rays of the sun. So this is a ray going out, and notice it's got points on it. All right, you can also do it. Let's draw the same one, but I'm going to draw it in a different direction. All right, now the way, and I'm going to do some surgery while we're talking, the way that you would end up writing this is similar to both the line and the segment from above. So what I mean by that is, right here, we used an arrow. Right here, we didn't use an arrow because it didn't have one. In this case, it has one arrow and it has 1 point. So the way we're going to end up writing it down... Oh, sorry, guys. That is Ash. I told y'all she's a troublemaker. You're going to draw a ray. We're going to draw an arrow. And you can do CA. You want to start from this point over. You have to start with where it started from. The point is where it started from. If you'd like, you notice that there's also another point here. You could also write CB, ray CB. Again, computer world, so if you want, sometimes we're going to have to write ray CA and kind of write it out a little bit more and use our words. Sorry, guys, I'm running out of room. You can also write ray CB, however you need to. Quick caveat. If you noticed about our lines up there, right, I could technically cover it up from here and it'd be a ray. I could technically do the same here. And that's because a line is composed of opposite rays, actually, as well. So I'm going to do that in a different color here. All right, and I'm going to draw one line. Okay, but you're going to get rays, opposite rays, BA and ray BC. So it's going from BA, because that's our 1 point that they're going to have in common. We're going to split it, and ray BC. So now you have that set of opposite rays. A couple more things that we need to add in here are collinear points. Okay, and that's going to mean that's on the same line. So if you've got a highlighter, go ahead and highlight that part in. So collinear points, for example, say I have this. Your collinear points would be A, B, and D. Not A, B, and C, because C's, well, C's kind of out here. It's not even on the line. So, unfortunately, we don't care for this one. So, A, B, and D. Another one that we are going to need to talk about are coplanar points. So what that means, and you guessed it, it means that they're on the same plane. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my plane. And again, yours doesn't have to be perfect. And yes, it has to be kind of like this shape. Okay, so got point A, C, B, E. I'm going to put point D out here. And your coplanar points right here are everything that are on this plane. And D, well, sorry, buddy. We've just got A, B, C, and E. Now, from all this, and this is where we're going to go to page 4. Right. Most of this, I'm going to actually have this typed up and posted right under this video. So make sure you copy that down onto page 4. That's why you're going to get a picture of my notes and you can see my actual handwriting because I do want to show off. And these are the postulates for points, lines, and planes. So as a reminder, a postulate, and I do want you guys to write this in because it's a little bit different than what I had you write yesterday. It's a little bit more detailed. Postulates or axiom, you can call them either or, they're interchangeable. Okay, it is a statement that is accepted as true without proof. And you'll see what we're talking about next chapter when I'm saying proof. Pretty much, in other words, it's a statement of fact. All right, you are going to have 4 postulates. You're going to write postulate 1. And then you're going to label it out and you're going to write, okay, so pretty much if I ever reference postulate 1, you need to come back to this. Through any 2 points, there's exactly 1 line. All right. And then you've got postulate 2, 3, and 4. Something I do want to talk about, we've talked about collinear. If I were ever to talk about non-collinear, just remember that that just means it's points that are not on the same plane. So non-collinear points would be C and A, or A, B, C, and D, because they're not all on the same line. As long as one of them is not on that same line, it's considered non-collinear. And you'll notice we used both pages 3 and 4. So make sure that if we ever do that, that your table of contents reflects it. All right. Thanks for watching. Make sure to get the rest of the postulates right here.